welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. Rightio, let's start off. We're talking about food combinations, but we're going to start off with a bit of a reminder on the principles of eating according to Ayurveda, because we did really touch on it briefly a couple of other times. But if we can just start there, and then we'll get into our food combinations.
Beautiful, yeah, and this is the topic that is needed to be discussed nowadays, because not only the food is the medicine, food gives us nourishment, food gives us contentment, food gives us happiness, but at the same time, food can give us some diseases as well, or some discomfort as well, if it is not consumed in a right manner. So Ayurveda always talk about few principles that one should follow while having your food. I'll go through those principles, and we can try giving our listeners something to think upon, or so that they can incorporate these things in their daily lives, so that they can avoid many of the discomfort things that can happen with wrong eating habits, wrong combinations, and all those sort of things. So I would always consider 8 principles or 8 rules of having food or consuming your food. First one is called the Prakriti, that is the nature of the food. One should think carefully before consuming anything, that what is the nature of the food that you are going to consume. By nature or the Prakriti, we always mean that few things are easy to digest, we call them lighter to digest or laghu, and few things are heavier to digest by nature. For example, green mung beans, they are lighter to digest. All right? And the other things, for example, cheeses, all those rich foods, they are heavier to digest. So one should think of those prakriti or the nature of the food before consuming them. This was the first one.
Can I just intercept, when you talk about cheese, that's dairy, because there's vegan cheeses too. Are you talking about dairy?
Yes.
Dairy.
Most of the times, the actual cheese, the dairy one. And second one is the karan. That means how we process our food before consuming our food, or how we transform a raw material into something that we can eat. So this is called transformation of food, or the karan. So in this way, we should always be mindful that how we are cooking our food, with what we are cooking our food. So by saying that, topics will emerge out of topics, and one thing that everybody can follow, and it's very easy to remember as well, that whenever you are consuming any food, just think of 3 qualities. One is that should be laghu, that means that should be easier to digest. Because if it is easier to digest, it will not give you any discomfort, it will get digested easily, body can, absorb and assimilate all the nutrients in a good manner. Second property should be, it should be snigdh, means it should have some sort of fats or oils in your food. Why? Because we always consider that there is a digestive fire in our body according to Ayurveda, which transforms or digests our food. So, and adding those little fats or oils in our food will actually add on to help our digestive fire to burn in a good manner, so that it can digest properly. We can consider this as, we use fire to cook outside. Okay? If the fire is too low, the food is gonna take too long to get cooked. Right? So we need the right amount of heat and fire to cook the food in a proper manner. In the similar way, when we consume the food, it depends upon our body agni, or the digestive fire. If it is good, it will digest it in a good manner. If it is weak, it will take longer, and it can create some problems, discomforts, gas, bloating, all those sort of things. So that's why adding a bit of fat will add on to it will help to get digested actually. So having foods without fats is not recommended in Ayurveda. Yes, the amount should be considered, and what sort of fat one should have, that is another question which we can discuss. But this was the second thing. Third one is it should be ushan. Ushan means warm. When we say warm, I never say that we should warm it up in a microwave. Warm means freshly cooked. Right?
Exactly.
Yes. And if you just think about these things, that if you have a food which is lighter to digest, which has some fats in it, and third one, it is warm or freshly cooked, it will give you the right taste and texture of the food. In this manner, your salivary secretions will be good. That is the first step of digestion. When we eat, sometimes we eat too quickly because we are always in a hurry. We need to go somewhere, or somebody is coming over to your place, or I have to go to job, or something. But if you actually consider these things, if you don't chew your food properly, the first step is missed. And this is the first step where fat metabolism start going in a wrong way. If we don't chew our food properly, if our saliva is not getting mixed properly with the food, fats we're not gonna get digested properly. So that's why please always remember these 3 properties of the food when you're going to consume. It should be easier to digest, it should have some sort of fat in it, and third one is it should be freshly cooked and you should consume it warm.
All makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. And
Yep.
also not to keep your diet regularly complicated, like to keep it very simple.
Yes.
And less ingredients rather than
Right.
like hundreds of different vegetables and spices. Just it's important just to 1 or 2 or 3 vegetables is enough, and just some pepper, that kind of thing. Crack that black pepper will help to increase your fire if it's a little bit low, especially now at this time of the year when we're sort of trans-seasonal. We just like to give that little digestive fire that Dr. Sharma was talking about, that little encouragement, that little boost, and that just really helps. That will create saliva as well, and absorption, and you'll get the nutrients from the food. So very important. It seems simple, but it's super, super important.
Yeah, I don't think we realise the sort of importance of pepper, do we? We
No.
think of salt, okay, put a
Yeah.
bit of salt for flavour, but
Sure.
pepper, I'm glad
Mhm.
you've met saying this.
Yeah, and there's different kinds of pepper. I mean, in India, and we have a thing called trikatu, which is a combination of 3 different kinds of fiery peppers, you could say. So ginger is another way of adding pepper to your, or that igniting your digestion by adding ginger to your food. And it can be long pepper or pipali, and it can be cracked black pepper. And what we do is we mix those 3 together so that they're just ready to pinch, grind them down, and pop a couple of pinches into your food, and it's done. Simple.
What's the third one? I've got the pepper and the ginger.
And cracked black pepper.
Oh,
And together, that's a
cracked
combination.
black pepper,
Pepper.
as well as powdered pepper.
No,
Same
it's
thing.
the 3 things are the ginger powder. Second one is black pepper, either cracked or powder form. Third one is the long pepper.
Long pepper.
Yes, it's a very important herb in Ayurveda, and both of these peppers, like black pepper and long pepper, they are very good, or they are very essential. One should have always in their diet, because when you consume these 2 things, they have a chemical or the active ingredient which is named as bioprene or the piperine, right? Why it is called as bioprene is because it will increase the bioavailability of anything that you are consuming with long pepper and black pepper. So for example, just as an example, if we are consuming 100 mils of milk and we are having that much amount of calcium out of that, just for an example, if you are adding long pepper or black pepper into that, the bioavailability of that thing that you want to have it will increase, and you can eat little, but you will have more nourishment.
Excellent.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So Lee already have brought us to our 3rd principle, which is called samyoga. Samyoga means combination.
Thank you.
How to combine, what not to combine with what. So by saying that, in a very general sense, one should consider few things. I always recommend this to our clients, that one should never mix milk or milk products with salty or meaty items. For example, no meats plus creams on top of it.
Yes, like chicken, like tortellini alla panna. Is it? Does it have chicken in it? I'm thinking. Or
Yeah.
the tortellini's the meat in the pasta, and that's creamy, right? So
Yeah.
that's not great.
That's a no-no from Ayurvedic
Right.
perspective. Yes.
As much as it looks delicious and all the rest of it,
Yeah.
but complicated.
Well, even though it's only got a little bit of mix, it's mainly pasta dish. So we're not talking about like steak and cream. We're talking even a little bit of meat with cream is not good.
See, if it's a little bit, it will create a little bit of problem.
Right.
If
yeah.
it is too much, it will
Logic,
create a
yeah.
too much of problem.
That's right.
Very simple about that.
True.
All right. And another combination, like we always say that, never consume yogurt or curd with salty. Again, it is the extension of the first thing that we said, that in general sense, no milk and milk products with meat and salty items. Second is especially yogurt and curd, because we love it and we always say that, oh, it has good bacteria, it is good for gut, it will help in digestion. Yes, it is. It will help you in digestion. But we should know the rules of eating yogurt.
Yeah.
So rules of eating yogurt according to Ayurveda is that one should never consume a yogurt during night or after sunset, you can say. One thing. One should not consume yogurt every day.
Yeah.
Third one
too
is...
acidic, is it?
Yeah, I'll explain
Oh, of
all
course.
those sort of things, no problems. Third is one should never mix or heat the yogurt or never mix any salt into that. So these are the things. So how to have yogurt or curd? So one should have yogurt or curd as a snack. 2 hours before meals or 2 hours after meals. Right? And one should always have a little bit of sugar in that, or one should have Indian gooseberry, which is called amla, which is very good combination with yogurt to have it.
Excellent.
Right? So like you were asking why one should not consume it every day. Like we discussed last time, that it has a specific quality which we call abhishandi, which means it stops or slows down all the secretions in the body, starting from your salivary secretions, your digestive secretions, your pancreatic juices, your cerebrospinal fluid, your synovial fluids, all those sort of things, even your thoughts. If somebody is going through a hard time and they are not in a very good mental health, the eating more of yogurt can actually impact in a bad way. It can cloud your thinking, it can cloud your thoughts, and it can take you in a dark, deeper spaces.
Because?
Because it's abhishandi, it will stop all the secretions and your thought process as well.
Really?
Yes. That is the beauty of Ayurveda, that we always consider not only the physical component of one thing, but the mental component of that thing as well. So that's why one should not consume curd or yogurt every day. And if somebody is dealing with any sort of heart problems, high cholesterol, uncontrolled diabetes, one should never consume this.
Never.
Right? Yes. But then what to do? How to get the benefits of that? There are ways to that. One can make buttermilk out of yogurt, and still then you will be having those good bacterias, bit of calcium, bit of all those trace elements, all those sort of things, but in a diluted form that will not give you as much harm as the yogurt as it is.
And the reason we do that, because it's very good for digestion, because if your digestion has been sluggish, because that little fire is not booting properly, then we suggest lassi, which is called a lassi. And the benefit of that is it's very easy to make. You can put some cumin in there, you can put some cracked pepper in there, it will give it a lovely flavour. And the curd that is around the side of the container, we can use as a face mask as well, so nothing gets wasted. So
I like that.
So it's very useful food, and it will just create that lightness in the digestive tract, and you'll get that sense of movement happening through the digestive tract, and it tastes really nice as well. So that's the other added bonus as well. So there's lots of things that we can do just to get that digestion working, because for the most part, most Aussie digestive tracts are sluggish, and that's also impacting back into the liver as well. And so just by having a day, or a week where you just are conscious about what you're putting into your body, keeping it light and bright, is a form of detoxing, and you're managing that yourself, and that's a really healthy thing to do. And your digestive tract is going to say thank you very much.
course.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you, Lee, for adding those things. And by saying that, we can move on to our fourth one, which is called Rashi. Rashi means the amount. So one should always be mindful of the amount that you are going to eat. Yes, when we like something or something is your, when you are served with your favorite dish, we tend to eat more. Or when we are in a good gathering around friends, all those environmental things also makes us eat more. But one should always be mindful that how much one should eat, right? So always keep this thing in mind. I would always recommend not to fill your tummy up to its fullest capacity. So leave 1/3 part for air to do its work so that it can do the churning and all. So we need some space for that. If your stomach need to churn all the food that you are eating, to mix all the acids, all the secretions with that, it needs a bit of space. So to provide that space, I would always recommend to eat by keeping 1/3 of your stomach empty. So this is the importance of Rashi, or the amount of food that one should eat. The fifth one is the Desh, or Desh means where you are living, in what sort of environment we are living, and what are the common produces here. That is the best way to get the right nourishment, right? In a world today, you can get anything from any part of the world. No? Yes, for once in a while to enjoy those special delicacies, that's okay. But one should always rely on the local produce, because that is produced in this soil. That is why it is good for you, because you are living here.
That's right.
And it has a bit of genetic mutual understanding as well. When we are living in a country and we have grown up in a country or in a certain environment, it does make your body get connected to those things, isn't it?
You're talking about temperature,
Temperature,
moisture, humidity,
everything. Yes.
everything.
And that also goes with the veggies or fruits or all sort of produce that is produced here. For example, South Australia, right? So we are living in South Australia, so anything which is produced in South Australia will be better for us to have. So this is the importance of the place of origin of the food.
Makes sense.
Yes. And the next one is the Kal. Kal means time. What time you are eating.
Exactly.
Yes, I will say that our listener will also connect to this thing that what I'm going to say, that we usually watch our clock and then we say, oh, it's time to eat. It's not like that. One should eat at the right time. And what is the right time? Like we discussed last time as well, and I will just remind all of our listeners again about that thing, is that when you want to eat something, ask yourself, are you hungry? Hungry stomach and empty stomach are two different things, as we discussed earlier. So just ask yourself, are you hungry? Or very small and useful tip is that have a glass of warm water an hour or 40 minutes before you are going to eat. If you have an empty burp, that means your stomach is empty and you are ready to go. If you got a burp of previously eaten food, that means your digestion is still going on. Please do not put anything into your system. Third possibility may be that you will not get any burp. That again says plenty of digestion is there to happen. So do not put anything in your system. So it's very easy way. A glass of warm water will tell you. Start doing these things and start listening to your body signs. Body will tell you everything.
Exactly. Excellent.
Yeah.
It does.
And next one is the Upyog Sanstha, which means the law to eat. So the basic law to eat is when your previously eaten food is digested, then one should eat only. Not just because it's 2 o'clock, let's have the lunch, or it's 7 o'clock, let's have dinner. Not by that time, but the time that a body need to finish the digestion and get ready for the next meal. This is the time we are talking about. And it may differ from person to person. One might have bit quicker digestion. One may feel hungry a bit quicker than the other person. So everybody is different. Everybody has to understand their body and go by that.
Makes sense. Listen to our body.
Yes.
It's got an intelligence of its own.
Yes,
It does.
absolutely. And what we are saying here is just to let that intelligence tell you what to do.
And we even said that before last session. I was having a chat with you then. I just let you know that, one night I didn't know what to eat, but I just stood in front of the food options and my body told me. And I thought that was interesting. I think we all do it anyway.
Sure.
But we just being mindful that we can tune in. Looking at the dried pasta, no, I don't feel like that. Think of fish, do I want that? Do I want whatever, chickpeas? Do I want a salad? Do I need water in my body? Without overanalyzing, our body sort of tells us what we want.
Exactly, and it will always do that. And it's a good thing to also think about, because in Ayurveda we like to prepare fresh food as much as possible within a 24-hour period. And so quite often Ayurvedic food is not difficult to prepare, but it's a good thing to eat possibly the same thing all day long, like for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and that's a form of detox. So you could make a beautiful dal, some soup or a khichdi, which is a combination of mung bean and basmati rice and some spices. Get that turmeric in there so that we've got, anti-fungus, anti-everything happening in the gut. And it's also very anti-microbial, antibacterial, anti-aging. So, we're really upping the ante by putting some of those lovely herbs and spices that we have in our masala box, alongside of us. And things like, turmeric and cumin and fenugreek, all of those things have huge medicinal properties that do the work of many medicines. We sort of go to a chemist and you see all these digestives aids that that you don't need to really have, because you've got the preventatives in your masala box, and they can be sitting there and doing the work before you need to get to that point, so that you've got the food digesting in you. You can use your slow cooker and make it, and I've done that yesterday. I put lots of mung dal and some veggies and whatnot into my slow cooker, and in the morning I've got breakfast, lunch and dinner organised. And you see, I don't mind eating the same thing, and maybe that's part of the transitioning from a Western diet into an Ayurvedic diet. But the thing is, it's also a detox. It's medicine for the day. You only have to prepare it once, so if you've got many other things going on, there's many benefits in thinking about, I can do this, and for your family as well, because lots of women will say to me, but then I have to cook for my family, and then I've got to do this, and it's about just trying. And giving them the options. They don't have to have complete dal, they can have other things that go with it, but at least they've got a little bit of something on their plate there. And everybody needs to know how to cook. This thing about I don't know where my kitchen is that has to go. Exactly. That has to stop. We have to get into the kitchen, and we have to learn what all these plethora of vegetables. We live in South Australia, we've got everything here, we don't have to do too much, it's pretty obtainable. So the quicker we learn those things and start looking at what can happen, and sprouting food, like that's live food going into your digestive tract. And people will say, but my dad's been eating cheese and apples all his life and he's fine. That's because his body's adapted.
That's very, very good point.
Like a 10-year-old, let's save the digestion because that
Very good
combination just is not good. But then we have to think, does your dad have arthritis? Does he have an acidic body? Is he pooping every day? What's the counter because of that? So all subtle, I know, but that's the reality of what we're looking at.
That's a good point, because we do hear that a lot across different cultures, don't we? Even in our sort of culture, and my husband said, I had an uncle or a great uncle, and he smoked every day since he was 13, and he lived to 103. He smoked and he drank whiskey before 12. But we don't know how he thought. We don't know how he felt.
That's right.
So what? He lived to 103, but was he in good health, or was it a struggle?
Absolutely.
So, and I've even seen different shows. You know that show Lois Theroux, that BBC guy who does these interviews, and he was interviewing this guy who was on like heroin for 30 years.
Exactly.
And I thought, how can you live on heroin for 30 years? And he was cognizant, like he was talking, he was sort of like on the ball, switched on, intelligent, but his body and mind just got used to it. But
Absolutely.
then you go, but what
But
about everything else?
there would be a consequence somewhere along the line. And is the Sanskrit word prabhav?
Prabhav.
Prabhav. Yeah.
Prabhav means no physical explanation of that. It happens because it
People
happens.
just adjust to even very bad habits.
Yeah, they do. So therefore,
In other words, the body's strong. The human body is strong to survive it. All
absolutely.
these things.
Yeah.
Body has very strong defense mechanism. Body has its own systems to protect itself from the these wrongdoings that we are trying to kill our body with. So, but still, body sustains and it remains and it helps us because according to yoga, we always say that your body is a tool. It should help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. But it should not be a restriction for you. For example, if I want to run, I want to jog, I should not say, oh, my knees are hurting, I can't run. Huh? Yeah. So these sort of things, it's our body and it's our responsibility. I have to make it that way that this tool, my body, should help me if I want to run, if I want to remember things, if I want to improve my memory. There are certain techniques, there are certain practices that you can do that and you can improve your memory, isn't it? So by saying that, your tool is in your hands. How you handle it, how you use it, how you abuse it, it's totally up to you.
Exactly. And also the kind of life that people want, and most people want a good life where they feel feeling good in body, mind, and soul. That's what this is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely, especially in these times. The big sort of search on now is, I can do better, and just give me the tools now, show me the way. And we're seeing that a lot in the clinic now is, so tell me how to look after myself. And like Dr. Sharma said, the responsibility ultimately is our own, but we are very happy and very obviously we can help with a lot in the sense of like organising dietary advice, a detox, like a personalised detox for a day or a week or a month or whatever it needs to be, is probably a good way to clean the slate. And then just let's look at it from a more holistic point of view, where it does encompass what you do for yourself every day, because you need to have that nurturing time. You need to go out in nature, and you need to sleep well, you need to do some exercise, and you need to have that downtime, that me time, just sort of, it's so important because our schedules stop us from doing so much because we prioritise the schedule, which is fine, but there is a time in a week where you've got to give yourself that half an hour or that hour, whatever it is, just so that you can collect yourself because of everything that is going on. And we talk about that a lot because we need to remind ourselves, even just a breath, a pause, 3 breaths can make so much difference. You can feel your shoulders relaxing, you can feel that tension in your head if your ears are buzzing, like all that. It's just all mental stimulation, overstimulation. And Dr. Sharma is our expert in stopping the chatter.
Really?
He is.
How?
See, like Lee said, that more and more people want to know about the tools that are available so that they can keep their body and mind in balance. And the first and the foremost tool is your breath. So we seldom notice how we're breathing. So we always encourage and recommend this to our clients, that always observe how you are breathing.
Excellent.
And by breathing in a proper manner, in a correct manner, you can reduce your stress levels and you will feel, yes, this is working for me, I'm a bit relaxed now and I don't want to say anything, it's okay. So this is the point where you bring your body and mind together, when you say, okay, I don't want to say anything, I am okay now, I'm calm now. So by just breathing in with some special techniques, you can achieve that, and that's what we are providing to our clients as well. Yes.
Well, okay, so people listening now, what kind of breath work can we do now? Whether we're, I don't know, cooking, driving, walking, just lying down. Is there a certain breath that we can do anywhere, anytime?
Yes, you can do anyway because you are breathing anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
We are breathing 24/7, but we just don't notice it. We just don't observe it. So just observe your breath. I will request to our listeners, just observe your breath. Try how you are inhaling and how you are exhaling. And just try to make a pattern where you will exhale longer than the inhalation. When you start exhaling longer than the inhalation, it will start bringing your parasympathetic nervous system into a relaxed mode. So this will bring more calmness, easiness, reduced stress, and calm mind to you. So just one thing, as you said, the one tip is exhale longer than the inhalation.
I only asked that about the driving because I thought, there's some breath work that might put us in some meditative state that we can't do when we're driving. Because there's different nostril, close one nostril, open the other, different types.
There are many techniques. We call this as alternate nostril breathing. But like you actually raised a good point that can we do it while driving, or when what to do and when not, what not to do while driving. But I will say that even if one should make this the way of breathing through the whole life, that one should breathe like this, one should inhale, I'm not saying smaller, but up to your capacity, and exhale longer. This will not only reduce your stress levels, but it will increase your attentiveness, your concentration, and your focus. So don't you worry, you can do this anytime, any moment, while doing anything.
Awesome.
It is. So a nice little tool and a nice tip just to have in the back of your mind. We probably should talk about how you can self-diagnose whether you've got what we call some waste in your body, so that you know that you need to start thinking about cleansing your body. And what we call waste, the visible waste in our body, is called armour. And that can sit on your tongue. So a little self-diagnosis is to go and have a look at your tongue in the mirror and stick it out and have a look and see if it's coated, whether it's got some bumps and cracks and ridges on it. And that usually is an indicator that you've got some undigested matter sitting in your intestinal tracts.
Wow. That's
For
incredible.
starters. Yeah, and that would be an indicator. How you can start to remove that is the first thing upon rising is to scrape your tongue with a copper tongue scraper and rinse your mouth out. And because we don't want those undigested bits and pieces of toxins that have come up into the oral cavity overnight to come back. We don't want to swallow that and start all over again, because the more times it goes around your digestive tract and through your liver, it becomes more toxic and more difficult for your body to rid of. So things like observation about, am I feeling like, do I have brain fog? Am I feeling really lazy today? Does my tummy feel bloated? Am I grumpy? Like those sorts of things. And it can be what you think so far removed from, well, how does that affect what I eat? But it comes back to the combination of foods every time, because that is the precursor of setting yourself up for all those other activities during the day that we need to be mindful of, just simple as that. So things like eating fruits, they should always be eaten alone, not with anything else. And they should never be eaten in a combination of fruit and vegetables together, because it's just two different types of fibres, two different types of sugars, and the digestive tract's got to make a decision, well, what am I going to digest first here? It creates confusion. And then if we put an icy cold drink on top of that, and if we stop digestion completely, then nothing is happening. So all that food is just cementing down and just doing nothing. And so therefore your little fire, your little Agni fire, is also just simmering, and it's not really doing anything. So, things like that. We've spoken about milk and cheese and dairy, and another thing too, the thing that is not good to eat with melons, the rule of thumb is to eat alone or to leave alone, and pretty much the same with fruit, really, isn't it, Dr.
Yes.
Sharma? So try to keep that in your mind, that, you know, by all means have it, but just think about when you are having it. So that's really important. Just simple little things, and it might sound a bit convoluted, and how is that going to make any difference? But over time, we have accumulation, and
it makes a huge difference.
And it makes a huge difference, because it becomes then an arthritic body, it becomes diabetes, it becomes cancer, you know, so these are all the precursors that we're trying to avoid. And you don't have to buy into it, just by simply looking at how you eat. And once again, you know, sort of going back to that deep detoxing the mind and body, is going to help with depression and anxiety and those sorts of things, which are reigning supreme at the moment because of everything that is going on. So if we can do these things for ourselves, in our own home, for our loved ones as well as ourselves, then life will be a lot happier, for sure.
Exactly. It spills over to our loved ones, of course.
Always. Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. And also out in the community as well, because our own attitude to what's going on out in the community is going to be softer and more engaging. You know, Ayurveda is about community service, end of story, really. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you know, like community service, and that's what we want to do as well. So, you know, by all means, please contact us. We're happy to help with giving and providing information. We do have workshops coming, and we've got women's health groups which happen every month. We've got yoga, which we will be doing tonight as well. And Dr. Sharma takes a yoga therapy, which is more of a way of helping the body to start the yogic practice, the yogic philosophy. Because for not everybody, you just can't start doing yoga, or you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why yoga? Does yoga help with digestion and all that sort of thing?
Yes. See, yoga, you can say, is the panacea for all the questions that you have. By saying that, it will not do anything to you, but it will give you the right insight what to do in a right manner. And then you will follow that, and then you will not harm your body, then you will not abuse your body, then you will not harm your mind, and you will not abuse your mind. When you will be more learned, and you know more and more about these things, you know about your body, you know about your mind, you can assess yourself. Yes, stress is building upon me. Yes, let me take a break for a couple of minutes, let me do a bit of breathing, I'll be back. That's okay. It's more about understanding what's going on with you.
Right, increasing the awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once the awareness is increased, you will surely do the right thing.
Makes sense.
It does.
Excellent. Well, we've come to the end of the program, so any last words to our listener?
Yeah, would like once you know, absolutely. I think the thing going forward is to now go out into the community and to make our experiences real and be in touch with everybody. And so we will keep you informed about that, because there is, you know, we know where to start, but we just need to put the right things into the right program so that it's very, so it's useful, you know, and people have got their takeaways, and they can go home and start practicing in that. So May is a busy month around Adelaide for workshops, so we've since discovered, so it looks like June will be the time for us, so we'll get started then.
Yes.
Which would be great.
And I will say again to our lovely listeners that the take-home message for today is always consider that whatever you're eating, is it lighter to digest? Do it have some fats in it? Is it freshly cooked and warm enough to eat? Just these 3 things for today, I'll say that will help you a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
very much.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Namaste.
having us. Thank you very
Namaste.
much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Lovely.
Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. I just have to throw something on, but I just want to ask you something, so we're still live here. So if you want to say hello to anyone while I just quickly do this.
Okay. Hi team. Meeting soon. to get everything sorted about that, so about what we need to do with our workshops and get it out into the community, which would be fantastic. So it's certainly the time now, which would be wonderful.
And if you want to tell them about your business, how they can contact you.
Sure. We're East West Ayurveda and Yoga, and we're based at Norwood at 271 The Parade, Norwood, and we have monthly workshops at the Clayton Wesley United Church on Portrush Road, and this month it will be May 18, and the topic is about self, really, those emotions and the mind and body. So I would love to have you join us. It's $35 for a 1.5 hour session. We've got lots of treats. We've got in this session we'll also be doing some daily therapy routines. We're showing you how to do a self-abhyanga, which is about putting oil onto your body in the correct manner so that you absorb the oil and your body feels nice and moisturized, which and it's healthy for the mind, body and soul, and plus it gives you time to just care for yourself as well. We've also, with our consultations, it's a case of just either phoning through to the clinic and then we can make an appointment for you to see either one of the doctors or Beatrice and I, we're Ayurvedic lifestyle practitioners as well, and we can help you with the treatments and consultations about lifestyle, about more in depth about Ayurveda as well, and how to manage your life. And the doctors do a very comprehensive diagnosis of the body and just look at what's been going on there so that we can construct a program for you, a very personalized program as well.
So we'll be happy to help you in any way that we can. So thank you for listening us today, and stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, be happy.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay. Awesome. Now, can I just ask you, it's just that I had to throw those sponsors on, but I just wanted to ask you about why does AMLA go with yoga? So we're still live here, but we're not on radio. But if anyone's curious, well, I'm curious, so someone might be curious there. AMLA and yoga, why does it go?
Yeah. So to cover up what problems that yoga can give us, the acharyas or the seekers of Ayurveda has put this combination together. When you eat amla with yogurt, all the probabilities of those wrong things to happen, they will decline.
Okay.
It will help to digest it, it will give you more nourishment, it will be easier to digest, so no dramas in there. So that is just the right combination that has been
Okay.
prescribed by Ayurveda, suggested by Ayurveda.
Because AMLA is the high vitamin C, so is it something with the vitamin C and the dairy
Yeah,
and
and
acidophilus and all that?
surprisingly, nobody has said oranges. Oranges also have vitamin C.
Oh, oranges,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
So nobody has said to eat oranges
That's
with yogurt.
right.
So
Exactly.
amla has a very specific quality of jivaniya. Jivaniya means it gives you life.
Okay, yeah.
So vitamin C, yes, again, I will say that is our understanding, or that's how we see things nowadays, that it has vitamin C, it has iron, it has calcium, it has blah, 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 blah. But what we don't consider is what it will do when it will get digested in my body. That's where Ayurveda jumps in and tell us that this is the right combination, it will give you this, it will give you that, but it will help you to digest all the things as well.
Yeah, wow.
And plus it's also very good for immunity building at this time, all year round, really.
What is
AMLA,
AMLA?
yeah, and vitamin C. It just
Immunity.
will, sort of it prevents mucus from building up,
Yeah.
and it's very good for that, as well as vitamin D as well. Both of those two for this time of the year is really important, and your B12 and your magnesium.
So taking AMLA with water?
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
I've just
the-
done it like that with
Yeah,
water.
good question. The beauty of amla is you can have it anytime with anything. So there are no rules to that.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of amla. Ayurveda says that you can have it any time of the day with anything in any form. It can be juice, it can be raw, it can be, preserved one with some sugars and all.
Yeah.
So whatever way you like, go for it.
Where do we get long pepper from?
We have it at the clinic, and
Right.
also you can go to a good quality organic store, and there's plenty around Adelaide. There's in the Adelaide market, up in the hills, there's lots of places as well, and we tend to source from local as best we can. So, and the long pepper is actually a long looking pepper, and it has a bit of an astringent taste. It's not overly heating, but it has heating qualities to it, and when it's paired with ginger and cracked pepper as well, it just makes this very dynamic trio, which just really activates the digestion. And you'll find that you will just automatically pinch it into everything because it's really non-invasive, but it has a very good effect on the digestive system. Easy, it is easy to do. You don't have to go and buy anything else with it. Like you can have it there and it's in your pot and away you go. It's simple, simple stuff.
So how much would you put on your food? Because we were talking about quantities before last time. Not too much of this, not too much of that.
Yeah, again, very moderate quantities. You can put 2 to 3 pinches of that powder on your food, right, to start with. If somebody specifically is struggling with some sort of acid reflux things, then one should consider consulting a practitioner before you start having those things. Yes, because they are very potent, they are very strong in their qualities and properties. So one should consult a practitioner before getting any sort of herbs or medicines like that.
Yeah, that's why we come to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
That is very important because you don't want to overdo it. Like it's and relying on, like there's so much information out there, but it can be the wrong information, and you need to understand your body type first of all, and that's going to be regulated by your pulse, by what's happening in your eyes, your tongue, skin assessments, all sorts of things. Give the doctors an indication of what's going on with your health, and also we need to find out about the history of you as well, what you were like as a child, how things have been going, and what brings you to the consultation. What is it that you want to actually achieve? So that's how we start to build the plan. That's the important thing.
It's everything, isn't
Absolutely. Like, what is it that you need for your health, and what's been troubling you, and what are the precursors there, and what are the causative factors? Because remember, Ayurveda is always about the cause, not the symptoms. And so that's why we go on, our consultations go for an hour minimum, because there's lots of questions to ask. And it's interesting, it's good for the client to be able to have a think about, well, how did I get here, Usually there's lots of things you go, oh, that's jogged my memory. Yeah. And then the story starts to build, and that's a really healthy place to be, which is fantastic.
And the dosha, is it the doshas, the vata, pitta and all that? Can people, I think I asked this last time, but can people change doshas as they go through their life? Like, can they be that and then they sort of clean themselves up a bit, body, mind, spirit, and then turn into another dosha, or not?
Yeah.
Or are we born with it, we stay with it, we just a bit more of that and a bit less of that, but we're predominantly that and always that?
You're asking a very good question. You never need to change any dosha. You need to keep them in balance so that they should not create any problem inside the body. So whatever treatments or guidelines or recommendations, whatever we provide to our clients, it's all to bring the vitiated doshas or doshas which are out of balance, to bring them back into balance. Well, we can't live without vata, pitta and kapha. They have to be there all the time, and they are changing every moment actually. So like now we are talking now, because while talking I have to think what to say. So vata, as it controls the nervous system, it is getting more activated to give me more thoughts to speak. So it's changing every moment. Yes, when we eat, that's when the pitta comes into play to helps to digesting and transform things. And kapha is your immunity and all those lubricating secretions of your body, including cerebrospinal fluid, synovial fluid, the fluid around your heart, all those sort of things, you know.
Mm.
So yes, every moment it changes depending upon what you are doing. If I'm sleeping, my kapha will be more. If I'm eating, that means my pitta is good. At that moment, pitta is high. So we need to keep them in balance accordingly. If there is any trouble, if any trouble is related to vata dosha, means if somebody having any joint related problems, any problems with their mental health, any problems which are nervous in nature, nervous system related problems, or problems related to UTI, that sort of things we need to consider or bring back vata to balance. If somebody is struggling with digestive issues, acid reflux issues, bloating, fatty liver, all those sort of things, we need to consider pitta and bring it back to balance. If somebody is struggling with weight gain, obesity, uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled cholesterol levels, then kapha comes into play and we have to bring it back to balance.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Perfect. Bye-bye.
Thank you everyone. Bye bye. Thank you for
Bye.
listening us. See you
Lovely
again
to
very
see you.
soon. Thank you. Thank you, Bianca.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.